participate.
That's a lot of pressure.
No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. So I will kind of make you the host again. And if you have, like, if you want to share your screen, you also have that capability.
Okay.
And we'll put the spotlight on you.
All right, let's see. I want to share, but see the host. I mean, see the chat. All right, I think I'm set up here.
Yes, we can see you and we can see the brief.
All right, cool. So I don't see the chat though, just FYI. I'm thinking you're done.
If it helps, I can also mitigate and kind of pay attention to the chat too for you.
Okay. All right. So
okay. Yeah, well, I'll watch it.
Okay.
And report back to you.
All right. So I think, one more time, we'll read through the brief slowly. The way this would happen at UM, and honestly, even within the walls of any one of the agencies, it might actually go a little differently depending on how a team approaches it. So I'll give you a perfect example. We used to, in working with a former client, there was the brief, which would be a longer document. It would have information like we have here in it, and it would also have some business information in it, how the client and their products had performed over the last year. And there's a lot of meat that can be had in the brief. But I kind of mentioned this bottom line up front idea, but this particular client used to have a thing called the brief in a tweet. And so it was like, okay, you've got this full document, but then how would you describe all this essentially in 40 characters, right? So it was a really brilliant way to shorten up the information and get right to that bottom line up front. So again, the goal here is we just want to ideate on how will we reach an audience of 18 to 24-year-old African-American or Black or Hispanic or Latino early to mid-career professionals. And not only how would we reach them, right? How would we reach them in a way that exposes them to everything that Mediabrands has to offer specifically for their unique selves? And so we know that, individuals, of all intersectionalities don't really want to be, boxes that are checked by organizations. And so our goal is to show all of our candidates, everyone who looks at us as a potential destination employer, that everything that they've experienced, their work and their life and their interests, all of those things are attributes that we look for to add to our action-oriented global community of companies that is Mediabrands. And so they ask is, so to put this simply, what platforms, what media do you think you might utilize to reach this group? And then why? And then from there we go, okay, so how might you do that? Oh wait, I think I might be able to, can I view the chat here?
The chat is in the lobby, so I don't think you'll be able to see it because you're actually in the event.
Okay. All right, anybody throw out any ideas yet?
Peeler. Do you mind re-asking your question?
Absolutely. So in short, what media platforms placements, so when I say platforms, placements, or properties, I mean TV, radio, streaming audio, social media, print vehicles, out of home, like what will we use how could we use any of those media platforms or placements to reach individuals who are between the ages of 18 to 24, African American and Black, or Hispanic and Latino, who may not have considered a media agency as a potential employer?
Someone put TikTok question mark.
So what's interesting is I knew TikTok was going to be the first answer up. I already knew it. So I love that. I love that idea. I love that thought. Again, I want to just make a mention. It is one of the ones that we're thinking of, or we're planning on utilizing in responding to this very brief already. So what I would ask is, yes to TikTok. How might you what would be a cool way, an interesting way to try to reach this audience using TikTok?
I'm waiting to see if they respond back.
Okay. And in the meantime, if anyone has any other ones, right, really think about it like this. The cool thing about this brief, and the reason we're using it here, is because most of you are in this target. And so, part of it, you can do what I like to call me search, right? Like, as opposed to research, it's based completely on you. Like, you can really think about this to say, all right, like, what media do I use on a regular basis, right? Do I use, am I on Spotify often? When am I listening to Spotify? Do I watch TV, or do I, prefer, to stream, with, Netflix or Hulu or any of the other streaming platforms? Do I travel to school or work or wherever by car, or do I take public transit? So that's what you want to think about. Like, the thing is, when you see media advertisement, none of it is really by chance. It's all based in science and research. And so understanding who the audience is that we're trying to reach, and not only understanding that, but understanding where they are, what the purpose might be for being in that space, what their tensions are. There's a lot that pours into understanding how people react to media. You know how sometimes you go into a coffee shop or something, and you're playing a game on your phone, and you leave, and suddenly you're served an ad by perhaps a competing coffee shop, or even maybe the same coffee shop. That is because that is a group of media professionals and experts who understand where the audience is that they're looking for. And by understanding that, they know when and how to reach them with media messages.
I think I got a response. They said TikTok can be used to share the opportunities available through a funny and engaging way that would shed light into the opportunities available at Mediabrands.
Definitely agree. That is, and TikTok right now is probably the platform, right, that this age group is going to over-index against, right, is utilizing the most. But the cool thing that you just mentioned is it has to be in a funny and engaging way, because that's how that messaging not only reaches one person, but reaches a multitude of people. I see people funneling in. I don't know if I did that. Did I do that?
No, Jeff, we were coming back because our room only had the 4 agency people. It didn't have any students.
Oh, all right. All
so
right.
You all were broken into sessions with each other instead of with students.
Yeah, I think there's like some other groups are having issues where there's only like 1 or 2 students, something like that. I'm not sure if like when it got broken out, it just.
Yeah, we automatically broke it out, so I could see that happening where you all got stuck with each other and everyone else is in a different group. I guess in the interest of time, maybe we can stick with what's on the screen now, and then just move forward that way, because I think we only have like 7 minutes left.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
Okay.
So you know what I'll do? I've been talking a lot. You guys all understand the brief. One idea that was thrown out there was TikTok.
I also,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, someone else said all social media platforms can be used in that way, including Reels.
So yes and no, right? So you can use all social media platforms, but they're used for different reasons, right? People use different social media platforms for different reasons. So I'd say yes to that, but in a brainstorm, right? You want to really try to pinpoint an idea. You want to say, okay, for instance, reels they mentioned, and then you'd say, all right, what might you do with the reel? Like who might you utilize? Like who's funny or who's on point right now, that's out, in the space, that might be a good partner in something like this that might be engaging. And asking that question, you can answer it or not. But what I would love to do is, if any of my fellow panelists would want to throw out any thoughts or ideas, I'm going to open it for you to throw out those ideas as well, and let students react to it. There's a little bit of a delay because they have to type their responses in the chat, and then Nicole is then referencing that for us. So does anyone have? So I'll ask the panelists a question. Within your agency, how might you? What's a platform that you might consider utilizing to hit this audience? I don't know if those who rejoin me on stage realize I'm talking to them. I'm talking to you all because you can respond right away while students have to type in the chat. So I'm asking you to throw out some ideas. We've had TikTok, we've had Reels thrown out as potential ideas, and then what was mentioned was making sure that they're engaging and funny in the use of them. So any thoughts from the group of experts from our different Mediabrands agencies?
Yeah, so as the out-of-home representative on the line, I'll throw the billboard hat into the ring here. So when I kind of read this and see, the primary audience, I think also an angle is kind of where is everybody living? Where are they going to school? Where are they currently working? And in 2022, luckily, we have so many data providers that we can source that information. And then we can, look into our billboard out-of-home inventory and look into how, that indexes to these certain areas, and kind of look to dominate these presences, so that when people are out and about, when they're, kind of taking mass transit, when they're in the grocery store or what have you, they're kind of surrounded by this, influx of out-of-home placements, just to kind of create an additional touch point outside of kind of the digital platforms. And this way it's kind of, a full circle, holistic, well-rounded campaign that could, definitely tie things together in a unique way.
I have another response that came in. It says, would it be helpful to see young professionals in their age range and racial background talk about their positive experience at work? Maybe a quick day in the life at my job. We do this to show our experiences at school.
This is so that I felt like that was a plant, like someone from Mediabrands said that. So again, a lot of the work we do is based on these insights and really trying to dig in and understand the audience, which sometimes includes literally talking to the audience. And so, you will actually see, that is what we leaned into. I love whoever suggested that, because that is a direct response to the insight, right? Like for this particular group of people, it's really about, it's really, they don't want to check a box. It's really about their own distinct, unique perspective. And so, yes, absolutely. A day in the life or a perspective as to why Mediabrands is the place that they want to work at is definitely a key idea in trying to attract people with, you know, a varied background. So I love that. I love that idea. You guys are on point. You know, it's really cool to know where we're already going with this and then talk to you about it. Because when you make suggestions and things like that, honestly, it's reassuring to know that we're working down the same path. But this is how it works. You might be in a room at some point in your career where you might be either the youngest person or the only, you know, person with whatever your particular, you know, intersectionality is. And it's really important that if you happen to be in that room, I pray that you're not. I pray that, you know, we really begin to move the needle as an industry. But if you are, it's really important to share that POV, right? Like if you share that POV, and it might change the complete direction of how a campaign goes because you might be the audience. But I love that suggestion. Did we get any other ones?
Someone else said, I think Instagram posted content is a good way as well.
I love that. Can't argue with that at all.
I see a text just came in and asked, what's POD?
Point of view.
Point of view. So POV. Okay.
Yes. I'm sorry. Did I write that somewhere in the brief?
No, they heard you say POV.
You know what? And if you hear any acronyms that aren't HBCU, feel free to call us out because we love a good acronym in this industry. I actually remember when I first came into the industry, I had the person who was running my account literally gave me a sheet that just had acronyms on it. It was like a little acronym dictionary. So thanks for asking that. Point of view is what that acronym stands for. Any other comments in there?
I see a text that just came in that said, how about sizzle reels?
Oh, like kind of like what you see. So what's interesting is we almost always, I think let me ask this back. So we use the sizzle reel, but that's internal, right? So we're in front of this particular audience and we've shared a sizzle reel. That's internal. It's not a media platform. So where would you suggest to that person or anyone else, where would you suggest we would use that sizzle reel at? That's where we want your head to go. So good idea to use a sizzle reel, but where would we use it at? And that's the crux of what we do as media agencies. We figure out where, right? Where, when, how, and for what, and for the right price. That's what we do.
This comes from Ralph Nader, but he said, how do you go about deciding whether to go with TikTok or Instagram? Would you do both and why? Does the parent company value and corporate responsibility impact that decision?
So it's a little bit of, so how will we choose? There are a lot of factors that go into how we might choose. And to the corporate responsibility, yes, there is a lot that our Magna group, who spoke earlier, does around, first of all, equitable placement of media. There's a lot of work we've been doing on individual teams throughout Mediabrands on responsible media placement and working with partners who are very responsible in their use of media. A lot of times the decision is made on a couple of factors. So the audience and audience size, right? Because you do want to, if you have a really good message, but you don't hit enough people with the message, it's falling on deaf. So if you don't hit enough people or you don't hit the right people, it falls on deaf ears. So we definitely would want something that is scalable. And then also you have to really think about what your content is. that you are going to share, and that would go into where or how you might have to choose between the two. The other factor that's going to go is always budget, right? Because you can't choose everything with a small budget. You won't have an effective campaign. And so there's a number of factors that go in. But the CSR question is a really good question. Sorry, CSR, corporate social responsibility. That is a really good question because we, as part of what Mediabrands has done, I mean, this was our second year where we did a thing called the Equity Upfront, which was really about how can we work with our clients to spend money in a more equitable way, right? So, for instance, I'll use Black-owned in particular. Like, how do we spend some advertising dollars with Black-owned media or media that is being specifically made for Black audiences if it's not Black-owned? And so, what levers do we need to pull to ensure that we're able to do that, which injects equity directly into the system? And so, there's a lot of work around that. But even beyond that, we're thinking of different ways to be more responsible citizens, especially given the amount of power that this industry can wield.
I have one more comment.
Okay.
That says, how do we know if a company actually cares about a candidate not assimilating? How do you get people to understand this through media, especially when we only watch things for 15 to 60 seconds?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, a lot of people watch things for a lot shorter than that. So sometimes you have less time than that. Honestly, it is at the end of the day. I actually like questions like this. This isn't on the brief, but what I'll say to you at the end of the day, what I would recommend and what I have recommended to every candidate is to understand that the interview process is a two-way street, right? You are interviewing the organization that you're going to work for as well. And I don't mean just like questions, right? I mean, like, do a little bit of research ahead of time. Find out, hey, were they doing this work? What have employees, said about the organization, and then ask those questions in the interview. How long have you been doing the work? What are some of the things you've done? Ask the questions that are really important to you, right? Even if it's like, hey, you know what? I'm really, given Earth Day, right? I'm really concerned about sustainability from a planet, the health of the planet. Like, what do you guys do around sustainability? You guys ask those questions. Ask about the culture of the company. Ask if you can speak to an employee who might be at a closer level to where you're going to be working. It is really important for you to do that. But your question was, how can we convey that in a 15 to 60 second interval? And really it's hard, but we have those strategists and those creative minds who work to do that, who understand what is it that's going to catch this audience's eye. Many of you suggested if you could do something that's funny, right? And you've got like 3 seconds to capture somebody's eye before they swipe to the next thing. So I think that that's part of it. Also, the story has to be engaging, and you can really tell when it's when someone's being earnest, right? Like when they're being truthful in the story that they're telling. And so the way to do it in that time frame is to really personalize it to that person who is giving you the story. That's at least in my opinion.
I don't think I see anything in the chat.
Okay, I'm just gonna let everyone know. 3 more minutes, and then we're gonna bring everyone back. And what I'll say is, I enjoy doing these. We do these fairly often at UM. All of our agencies have a different way that they approach it. So I don't want to talk specifically about but we have a group who is on our Diversity, Equity, and Belonging Council called Attraction, and they do these types of things all the time, where they come out and talk to you and have these sessions where you can ask whatever kind of questions you want, but you also brainstorm. And so we really truly enjoy doing it. And in fact, honestly, it's the way for us to kind of show you what our culture is like. Whether or not there's a campaign happening, we're always trying to get in front of people and let them know that this is a place that we would welcome you and would want you to land. So that sentiment goes for all of Mediabrands. Are there any other questions before I close the rooms and bring people back and get some thoughts from the other groups?
I'm opening back up the text portal and seeing now.
All right.
Someone said identifying other brands to help push it.
So partnerships
and also and they also listed a lot of hashtags. So hashtag for you, hashtag for your page, hashtag beauty hack, hashtag non-toxic.
I love it. That's a good one, actually. Hashtag non-toxic. All right. See, and some of those ideas, those of you who think kind of in the social media space, right? Like we have, our strategists at any of the, either initiative or but also at our agency who does social, right? And they're thinking about things like that all the time. So, but what I love about these is this is an opportunity for people to you feel like you're just throwing out thoughts and random ideas, but they're not. Like, this is kind of what we do on a regular basis, try to solve different problems for different clients so that the messaging hits in the right way. So I'm going to close the other rooms and people will start to repopulate this one, and we'll see if there were other ideas that popped up. I guarantee you before they come back that TikTok is one of them. They'll watch. So the rooms are going to close. We got about 55 seconds. So Nicole, if anything else pops in the chat or any other text come through, feel free to throw that out there, and we'll see if we can get it answered in a brief amount of time. Ripping people out of their rooms right now. It's always like mid conversation too. So for those of you who got ripped out of your room, somehow Nicole has put me in charge, and I apologize.
Our breakout room had a total of 2 participants.
It's, it's been a little bit difficult because of the, not being able to break everyone out in the Zoom. I mean, Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, there's 500 or something people on that are paying attention to this right now. So the intent was you would have more, but we roll with the punches. We roll with the punches, right?
So we made it work.
Yeah, and just for clarification, when we set it up as a Zoom event, we didn't realize that those who are watching this in the lobby. So they're not in this space that we're in right now. So they can't be broken out into rooms. So we added a few students as speakers to engage with you all, and hopefully they really gave y'all some good content.
I mean, that's it. I'm curious, did we get any good ideas from the group? Those of you who just returned back to this room, I'd love to hear them. I've got a no money bet on what one of those ideas might have been.
So I'm gonna be honest, since we had one student in our group, we called an audible and ended up talking to them kind of more directly about what their interests are and what the opportunities are and how we could support them. But we did ask, content you think would speak to you or excite you. The student mentioned that it's really important for them to understand that where they're going to work is an inclusive place, that it's somewhere where they could be themselves, and it's somewhere where they felt like they could be heard. And so they shared that YouTube ads, they think that like highlight real people that work there, that are kind of engaging and working together around a project. He said TikTok is definitely something where he think that him and his peers would be pulled in and engaged. So definitely social native and social first. But that's what we chatted through on our group.
Hi, my name is Akia.
Hi,
and Ryan was the other student or the other non-agency member that was in our group. And so some of the stuff that we talked about as far as keywords, the big thing for me, I know, was like D9 and stuff like that, just because from what I'm just hearing on campus, because I'm a junior marketing major here, a lot of people are joining D9 for the connections. They're like, there's D9 everywhere, and you never know that one of your line sisters, your line brothers, could be an interviewer or something like that, and making connections like that. So I feel like targeting D9 because they do a lot in the Black community, PBL as well, because it's a business fraternity. And then we definitely hit on like social media, so Instagram and Twitter, social media, YouTube. So I know we were talking about like doing a day in the life, because you don't really understand the company culture or what the day is going to entail just by your job description. It's really just a bunch of words. So seeing someone say, okay, this is what I do in the morning. I go to the gym in the morning because I don't have to be at work until 11 o'clock. And then we have company meetings, we do this, we do that, and just showing what it will look like, because sometimes those words are like really intimidating. You're gonna have to do this, 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 and this. And especially if you're fresh out of college, you may not realize exactly how easy it could actually be based on just the words. So seeing the day in the life. Ryan had a really good idea about or targeting like old television shows. So I'm gonna like pass it on to Ryan, and she can kind of give you like what her idea was.
Thank you, Akil. You did good, girl. So we also discussed doing video ad promotions. So I thought like rebooting TV shows and movies are really big. So we can do that, like incorporating just the work area, making it to like Moesha or something like that, just showing that that you can have fun in your workspace. Akil also mentioned self-care videos, and I was thinking we could do that as well to show, mental health matters as well in your work area as well. So a lot of that, I think that would be really fun and nice to do. And it can go on Twitter and Instagram, because Twitter picks up things like that very easily, especially reboots of stuff. So that would be really fun to do and grabs our audience attention.
I just want to state that most people may not know what D9 means, but it's a divine nine. It's the Black fraternities and sororities that you do see throughout the country. And they do a lot of community service that helps individuals, not just Black, but all individuals prosper.
Just plugging in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. That's all.
Now we got to leave space for everyone else. Because that's how it goes. No, look, I love all of those thoughts, and we knew TikTok was coming. We knew, we knew this happened in the broader room as well. There was this idea about like seeing real people and hearing real stories, right? Because that's really what you relate to, not an actor telling you why it's a good place to work. And so what's really relieving and refreshing for us is, but I think it also speaks to when we tell you what it is that we do and how we do it. I think that the fact that those are places that we've landed and that we've landed already speaks to the fact that we try to be as connected as possible to whatever the audience is that we need to reach. And this is an instance where this is an audience where we are our own client, right? So Mediabrands is our own client. We're talking about our own campaign. And so when we started to put this together, we talked about TikTok. We talked about a need to use real employees. a variety of employees, right? Employees who had different stories, that looked differently, that sounded differently, that thought differently. And so I love to hear, when we have these types of brainstorms, when those ideas come, are brought up, it is refreshing because it really speaks to the fact that not only the reason these clients utilize us is because we are good at what we do and because we recognize that there are different ways to reach different audiences. So great ideas. Anyone else have any? And I'm sorry, let me just clarify for those of you who are either on the screen or you see your name on the screen. When I say, does anyone else have any, I'm really talking to you because those who are the vast majority of people who are viewing from the lobby have to kind of chat it. And then Nicole has to pick it up. So I don't start doing that awkward silence cheer. When I ask that question, I'm going to ask you all, any of you, to come off of mute and feel free to speak. But Akia and Ryan, really, really good ideas. Appreciate the contribution. And Akia, big shout. Congrats on Breaking Media. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Any other ideas come from any other groups? In our group, oh, go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, I was going to say the only other thing I see is thank you for this. I learned a lot of things I never thought about.
Well, thank you for being in attendance. It's our pleasure actually to do this.
Okay, I guess I have a question for you guys. So like how I learned about this event today was through their career development services on campus. So how were you guys targeting or marketing this program? Like what did you guys do? Because I guess it's kind of similar to what our brief was, trying to get college students or minorities to learn about your company. So how did you guys market this event?
So Nicole, I don't know if you want me or Karen.
I was going to say that could be a me question.
I was going to say,
I feel like
that's all you.
Now I'm part of a media agency now. Okay. So we utilize social media. We reached out to all career services at all HBCUs, and we also did classroom visits. So we took a different kind of route. Instead of relying heavily on social media, we relied on people-to-people connection. So really tapping into the network to share the opportunities. And I'm curious, what school are you currently at?
I am at Alabama A&M University.
Okay. Yes. I saw a lot of Alabama A&M students sign up, and I also saw a lot of y'all sign up last night, but I'm not going to say anything. But that's really cool to see that our way of marketing worked.
Yeah, our Ms. Clayton, who is over CDS,
you bet.
She definitely pushed it out. She's the one who actually told me about it, and I signed up the day that she told me. So that's one of the things I was wondering. One of the ideas that I did kind of have was, I guess like college pop-ups where y'all come to the campus, but I didn't know necessarily how y'all would feel about that, or if y'all had campus ambassadors for your companies.
Ooh, that might be a Jeff and the rest of the do you all have ambassador programs?
So we have, this is actually a question I think other agencies should pitch in as well. So I'll give the answer from a perspective. So our agency, our strategy for diversity, equity, and belonging is the first part of our strategy is called attraction. And that group is the group that created the Breaking Media program that I spoke about. And we also have a program which we call curriculum. And part of that is going out to different universities and making contact that is beyond the career fair, right? Because the career fair, let's be honest, career fairs, students are spraying and praying, right? They're just giving everybody a resume and hoping somebody calls them back. But if we have somebody from, if somebody from our planning team or our data and analytics team shows up and you happen to be in math club and they talk to your math club about how your skills directly relate to what we do in our data and analytics team, that is more effective than us being at your career fair. So we're always looking for a different way to engage you. And one of those ways is showing up, you know, on your campus. Obviously pre-COVID, so a lot of companies are still working through how that looks. But one of the things we started doing was, if we applied for your career fair and we paid your career services to be at your career fair, we would also require them to allow us to come to get in front of a group of students in particular. And so we would pick that group of students and we would send somebody who actually works on the business. So I'll shut up there and let any of my sister agencies comment. We're all doing a bunch of different stuff, so you're going to probably hear some really interesting thoughts. Anyone else here? Just gonna leave me out there? Just hanging. Okay. Where's it? See, Pele disappeared, didn't he? Where's Pele? No, but that's, so I guess we'll leave it at that. That is one of the things that we do. Now, what I would say to that idea is, it doesn't really, with regards to the brief, it's not a direct response to the brief, but it is a direct response to how we might recruit. And so it's a very important to make that distinction, because I think it is a really good point and a valid point that you made there.
Okay, thank you so much for answering the question.
Absolutely. And you said we had a lot of Alabama A&M that showed up today, Nicole?
Yes, a lot of students from Alabama A&M. So I definitely believe Ms. Clayton definitely pushed it out to you all. So that's good to hear.
They won Breaking Media.
They did?
No, I'm sorry. They won our AAF competition, our pitch competition.
Yeah, we did. That's my class. My class did that. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, congrats.
Yes.
That's another way we reach you, right? Like we partner. Someone mentioned partners. We find partners like HBCU 20 by 20. They have a list of contacts. It'd be one thing for me to call Alabama A&M, try to get someone on the phone. You know, it's another thing to partner with an organization like HBCU 20 by 20. And if you think about HBCU 20 by 20 having all the context on that side, and you think about Mediabrands, right? Here is an opportunity for us to partner, but it gives HBCU multiple partners in the media space. So it makes sense for both of us. That's one of the ways we do it as well.
Thank you for that. I wanted to see if any of our panelists had any last thoughts or anything they wanted to share. I know we're 5 minutes over, and I want to be mindful of everyone's time. I know it's break time and some people might be a little hungry. Some people, me, but some people. No? Okay, well, with that said, we want to thank everyone who participated in the breakout rooms. For those who are watching on YouTube and in the lobby, thank you for sending your messages. Also, those who sent it via text, we appreciated getting your comments that way as well. With that being said, we're going to head into a break. We ask that you all really come back at 1. We're going to also remind you to come back like right before 1. But we look forward just to continuing the conversation. We'll be diving into deconstructing diversity with Magna. And then after that, we have a conversation on preparing the next generation just for tomorrow for careers. So we look forward to seeing everyone very shortly. Take some time, walk outside, grab something to drink like water, preferably. But we look forward to seeing you all soon. And thank you again.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right. Bye.